today's video, we're talking about one of the most crucial parts of being a field service engineer, and that is definitely the admin side. If you're watching this video, you're either already a field service engineer or you're interested in becoming a field service engineer. Welcome back to Untitled Label, where we strive for greatness through optimization. I'm John, I'm a field service engineer, and on this channel, I strive to share my life on and off the clock with you. If this is your first time watching Untitled Label or any Untitled Label content, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch this informative video. If you do get some kind of helpful, useful information out of this video, consider subscribing by smashing that button below. It's big, rectangular, and red, and smashing that thumbs up button as well, as it helps the channel grow. At the end of the day, my goal is to get this information to as many people out there as possible. For those of you that are back, thank you so much for your support. So I have my phone here, as this list is pretty long. In this video, I actually jam-packed a lot of information that are going to be helpful for knowing what type of admin is done by a field service engineer. This video will cover things like emails, scheduling, expenses, reports, ordering or managing parts, time management entries, training assignments, and a few tidbit bonuses that can help you out as well. So the first thing we're going to cover is emails, primarily using Outlook. I know for the company that I work for, we primarily work out of Outlook. If you're not familiar with Outlook and you are interested in being a field service engineer, this is something you should probably familiarize yourself with. When it comes to using Outlook, you're going to want to have to manage or maintain a good response time, because as you're planning things ahead of time, there's a lot of moving parts as far as being a field service engineer. So maintaining up-to-date communication is extremely helpful for not only yourself, but other people that you're going to interact with. I'm one of those people that keep a very short email list. I always feel like I have a to-do list and I have to look at stuff that's there, that's a number. So the lower my number, the better in a sense. So I move a lot of things that I don't need into folders, as well as delete them if they're not important. However, don't empty out your recycling bin just in case you forget something and you deleted it permanently. The next thing is going to be your scheduling. One of the things you're going to be doing as a field service engineer is maintaining a calendar. For this calendar to actually be useful to you, unless you're able to remember everything, which again, the less stuff you have to worry about mentally, the better. The more you can compartmentalize, the easier it is to maintain everything that's going on. So one of the things you're going to want to learn to use is your calendar. Making sure this is updated on the regular is going to help you out, because you can just refer to the calendar and the information is there. Obviously, you still gotta know what's kind of going on in your brain. You can't just data dump everything, but knowing where to look in order to stay up to date with what's going on is definitely helpful. So along with this, you're going to have planning for trips. This is gonna help you out, as you're gonna know what days you're leaving, what days you're coming back, as well as scheduling the rest of your week. You're able to plan ahead a lot better. Now, the next topic is going to be expenses. Now, this is probably, I harp on this one because at the end of the day, I'm using my own personal credit card to get more points. If you are using a company credit card, however, it's still just as important to make sure you're paying those off. Those credit cards usually have a max. If you hit that max, you're kind of SOL. So it's important to make sure you're staying up to date on your expenses and paying those things off on time. At the end of the day, although it is a company credit card, it still affects you as far as your ability to do the job. To be more in depth, we're going to refer to maintaining and submitting receipts. So as you are making transactions, you're booking flights, you're getting gas, whatever you're doing that relates to you being a field service engineer and working for the company that you work for, those receipts are going to be important. So make sure you either save them or take pictures of them right then and there, and at least you have the picture in case the receipt gets lost. That way later, or whenever you have a second, you can actually submit those receipts. That way you can actually get reimbursed back. The next topic is going to be working on reports or submitting reports in general. You want to look at it as you're telling a story. So you want to write all the essential details of what you did and what went on through the report. So this is mainly focusing on maintenance. So During maintenance, you want to be as descriptive as possible. It's even more so important to be as descriptive as possible when it comes to repairs. Other people can read these logs and get ideas, especially your fellow field service engineers. So if something went wrong, let's say that was super unique, if the situation replicates itself, you can actually read about it or see this issue and see what possibly was done to get it fixed. Another kind of report you're going to be working on are IQOQs, or installation qualification, operational qualification. Now, these reports are long, so whenever you install a new piece of equipment, you have to do kind of a certification saying that this instrument was installed in this certain way, these are the conditions, and this is what proves it, essentially. So with these reports, you have pictures, you have a lot of data that you need to gather. So it's extremely important to take your time, make sure you get good pictures, good data, that way you can transcribe that into the report. A lot of times the customer is paying a lot of money for these reports, and you want to make sure you're doing a good job on the reports. Shout out to my fellow coworker, Vernon, actually. I think he's the one. I was chatting with him when I was first learning quants, and he mentioned that slow is fast, fast is slow. So that kind of stuck with me ever since he told me that. And I think not too long ago, I asked him what was the quote because I forgot it for a second. But anyways, he mentioned that, and that's something that is kind of important when it comes to doing IQOQs. You want to make sure you're taking your time, because if you make mistakes, you're going to have to come back. That's your time being wasted. You have other people that are probably going to be reviewing those reports as well. So their time is being wasted, because it's a lot of going back and forth for stuff that can be avoided if you just find a good area, sit down, it's quiet, do your thing, listen to music, and just take your time and knock out those reports. And it shows your attention to detail. The next topic is going to be ordering/managing parts. Part of the admin stuff that you're going to be doing is ordering parts as you need them. Usually it's a good idea to order what you're going to need for the month. As far as maintenance, when it comes to repairs, it's a little bit harder to gauge because repairs pop up out of the blue. One, sometimes you have to get them scheduled. If they're really urgent, you might have to order that part the day of. It really varies with repairs, but at least for your maintenance, you should be scheduling about a month out. Part of the admin, get it? Part of the admin stuff that you're going to be doing is going to be sending back parts. A lot of times there might be parts that are needed to be sent back to your home office. So you have to be able to fill out the proper paperwork, get those parts sent back as well. That way you're not hoarding a bunch of parts that you don't need. With traveling and being on the road, we usually carry a toolkit. I try to organize my toolkit often in order to make sure I have everything that I need, as well as it's easier to find things when you need them when you're on a customer site. You're also going to regularly have training assignments that you have to complete. These training assignments usually relate to the equipment that you work on. There are constantly updates that come out, so you have to still stay familiar and read these updates in order to know what's kind of going on for the sense. Now that I've actually given you some of the things that you're going to be doing as a field service engineer relating to admin, I'm actually going to try to give some tips that hopefully may be helpful to you to improve your workflow. I primarily use Mac for most of my day-to-day, especially for video editing. So one of the things I've learned is to use shortcut keys. If you're not familiar with shortcut keys, this is like Control-C, Control-Z. I actually put up a small little list. You can Google this yourself. Try to integrate shortcut keys. That way you don't have to use a mouse. It's kind of ergonomics. It kind of helps you out as far as flow and just moving a little bit faster. One thing that's going to help you with organization is creating folders and subfolders. I have folders for my email. I previously mentioned this in the video, whereas I organize a lot of my emails through folders. So I have things relating to travel, I have things relating to customers, and I have things related to trouble calls, as well as other various types of folders. So this helps me kind of find things that I'm looking for later, especially if it's something that has a timeline. When it comes to your desktop, organization kind of helps with finding things, especially documents. So that's why I use folders. Another thing I do is I use sticky notes on my computer, as well as notes, which I'm actually using right now. I use a lot of notes in order to keep myself organized and see what I'm actually working on. So if it's something extremely urgent that I had an idea, I will jot that down in order to remember it later and come back to it. Same thing goes for being a field service engineer. You can have a little yellow sticky at the corner of your screen where you're able to jot down ideas or things that are urgent that you need to kind of have on your mind. Again, the less you have to really think about and keep on your mind, the easier it is to actually stay organized. Another thing I do too, relating to my phone, this isn't my actual work phone, but on my work phone, I have a lot of apps that I use on the regular. So for example, you're going to have Outlook. Everyone's familiar with checking emails on your phone. As a field service engineer, you might have advantageous apps. For example, let's say your company has an app where you can do a lot of stuff there. I hope you guys got some useful information out of this video. If you did and you made it this far, consider subscribing if you haven't yet. Smash that thumbs up button, as again, it helps the channel grow and more field service engineers can learn about what we do. If you really like this video and you want to help me out, sharing this video with someone else that may be interested is a big help as well. With that said, I'll catch you on the next one. I'm John, I'm a field service engineer, and on this channel, I strive to share my life on and off the clock with you.